Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The Rain of Memories. The rain had started as a soft drizzle, the kind that barely touched the earth but whispered secrets to leaves and rooftops alike. Inside the small apartment overlooking the bustling city, Emma sat by the window, her gaze fixed on the gray sky as droplets began to race down the glass. She had never been fond of rain, but lately, each cloudy afternoon brought a strange comfort, a strange longing she couldn't explain. Emma remembered the accident entirely, the harsh scrape of metal, the crack of bone, the piercing pain in her head as she fell. But what came after was a blur, a void in her memory where entire years had vanished. The doctors called it retrograde amnesia, a loss of memory for events prior to injury. For Emma, the fragments were drawn blank, slipping through her consciousness like water through fingers. Then the rain began. She discovered a peculiar pattern on a day much like this one. A soft rain was falling, and as the first drops landed on her skin, a surge of images flooded her mind. A flash of laughter, the warmth of a hand holding hers, the scent of tobacco and fresh coffee mingling in the air. It was disorienting and beautiful all at once. She reached out to grasp the memory, but it faded quickly as the rain stopped. It was just the beginning. Emma found that whenever raindrops touched her, flashes of the past came alive. Faces, voices, scenes filled with color and emotion. But most haunting of all were the memories of a man, a stranger she no longer knew but who seemed woven deep into the fabric of her life. Her therapist, Dr. Gable, sat across from her in a plush office filled with books and the faint scent of jasmine. Our memories are partly stored in our emotions and senses, he explained, watching her carefully. Rain could be a sensory trigger for your brain, unlocking pathways that are otherwise blocked. Emma nodded slowly. But why is he the only one I remember when it rains? The question slipped from her lips, raw and weighted with a longing she couldn't name. Perhaps in your life before, he was significant. Someone who touched you deeply. Dr. Gable's voice was calm, reassuring. These memories are even stronger because of the emotions attached. The thought sent an ache through Emma's chest. She wanted to know everything. Why she loved this man, what they shared, and most of all, to see his face clearly without the rain as a key. The memory came that afternoon unexpectedly. A sudden downpour struck the city, and Emma, caught without an umbrella, ran towards the cafe at the corner of 5th and Main. She pushed open the door, drenched but smiling, and found him there. He sat with his head bent over the table, a glossy coffee cup steaming beside a worn notebook. The moment she saw him, her heart stuttered, a feeling as electric as the first spark of a storm. His eyes lifted, a glint of recognition piercing the air. For a breathless moment, the world tilted and the past flooded back. But when she blinked, he was gone. Just a shadow of memory, as if the rain had been a bridge she could cross only when it fell from the sky. Emma had to find him. Days turned into weeks, and the rainfall became almost a ritual. She would wait patiently, standing by the window or walking the misty streets, hoping to catch the elusive memories. Each fragment revealed more. A stolen kiss beneath a silver moon, the feeling of his arms around her during a thunderstorm, conversations flushed with laughter and dreams whispered softly under the shelter of a park's ancient oak. The man was named Daniel. She learned this in a quiet moment when the rain pattered gently on the roof of her apartment, and a name came tumbling into her mind like a long-forgotten melody. Daniel. Emma began to seek him out in the city, her heart beating with hope and fear. She asked around the cafes, the bookstores, and the old music club where they had once gone together, according to the memories that bloomed only in the rain. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. Daniel was an artist, a painter of urban life whose colors captured both the grit and beauty of the city. He was gentle, with a restless soul and a laugh that could fill a room with light. Emma found his studio, a modest space tucked between a florist and a bakery. On a particularly rainy day, her courage propelled her inside. The scent of turpentine and wet earth greeted her as she stepped through the door. And there he was, standing before a canvas, his silhouette framed by the soft gray light filtering through the dusty windows. Daniel turned, his eyes meeting hers with a startled blink that soon melted into recognition. "Emma," he breathed, the name a bomb and a spark. "I didn't know if you'd come back." The warmth of his voice unlocked something buried deep inside her, a current of familiarity that bypassed the haze of her lost years. "I don't know how or why, but when it rains, I remember you," she said, her voice trembling under the weight of truth and vulnerability. "I want to remember everything." Daniel stepped closer, his hand reaching tentatively to brush a strand of wet hair from her face. "We have time," he whispered. "I'm here. We can fill those empty pages together." The rain continued to fall outside, a cleansing, healing symphony that wrapped around them both. As the drops danced on the rooftops, Emma felt the lost pieces of her heart stitch themselves once more. This time, not just in memory but in the reality of their reunion. Rebuilding their life was not easy. The gaps in Emma's memory were deep, and sometimes the rain didn't come when she wanted it to. But Daniel was patient, his love steady as the seasons. He showed her photographs, paintings, shared stories with a tenderness that honored both the past and the uncertain future. One afternoon, as the sun pierced through a break in the rain clouds, they sat by the riverbank, watching the water ripple under a pale golden light. Emma rested her head on Daniel's shoulder, feeling the pulse of the city and the promise of their love intertwined. "I was scared," Emma admitted softly, "that the rain might always be the only way I could reach you." Daniel kissed her temple, a silent vow. "I'll be your shelter, rain or shine." Together, they embraced the rain of memories, not as an end but as a beginning. A love rediscovered and reborn under the eternal grace of falling drops. For more stories, like and subscribe.